I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Alex's face from that video. Smug, careless, convinced he was untouchable. And behind that image was Maya, defending him, protecting him, choosing him over the truth. By morning, my phone was already buzzing. Unknown numbers, missed calls, one voicemail after another. The first message was short and shaky. You don't know me, but I think we need to talk about Alex. The second was worse. I heard you're his wife's husband. I'm sorry, he did the same thing to me. By noon, there were six. I called my lawyer immediately. They're coming out of the woodwork, I said. That was inevitable, she replied. Once one person speaks, others feel safe enough to follow. Safe. That word stuck with me, because none of this felt safe. Not for me, not for the women calling, not even for Maya, no matter how angry I was at her. That afternoon, I met the first woman. Her name was Rachel, early 30s. Nervous hands, eyes that kept scanning the room like she expected someone to burst in and tell her to shut up. He told me I was special, she said quietly, that he never trained married women before, that I was different. I didn't interrupt. He'd text late at night, ask how my marriage was, tell me I deserved more. She laughed bitterly. I thought he was helping me. What happened? I asked. She swallowed. I tried to end it. That he said if I told anyone, he'd show my husband messages and make it look like I chased him. My stomach dropped. Did he? No, she said. I quit the gym, moved on. But when I heard someone finally had proof, her voice cracked. I'm not the only one, she whispered. By the end of the day, I'd spoken to three more women, different ages, different stories, same pattern. Confidence, vulnerability, isolation, control. Alex didn't just flirt, he studied. He targeted weaknesses. He knew exactly how to make women feel seen, then terrified of being exposed. That night, Maya showed up again. This time, she wasn't angry. She was scared. You talked to them, didn't you? She asked, standing in the doorway. Yes, I said. Her face paled. You promised you wouldn't ruin my life. I promised honesty, I replied. You chose silence. She sank onto the couch, hands trembling. You don't understand. He said if I ever turned on him, yeah, that he'd destroy you, I finished. She looked up sharply. How did you? Because that's what he does, I said, over and over. Her mask finally cracked. I didn't know, she whispered. Not at first. But you knew later, I said gently. Tears streamed down her face. Real ones this time. He told me I was his escape, she sobbed. That you didn't love me anymore. That if I just stayed quiet, everything would be fine. And when you got scared? I asked. He said accidents happen. And then she said faintly. That stress causes miscarriages. That no one would blame me. My chest tightened. For the first time since this nightmare began, I didn't see my enemy. I saw someone who had made a devastating choice and then doubled down because she was too afraid to face what it meant. Still, fear didn't erase responsibility. You helped protect him, I said quietly. You gaslit me. You tried to take everything from me. She nodded, ashamed. I know. We sat in silence for a long moment, then her phone rang. She looked at the screen and froze. It's him, she whispered. Answer it, I said. She hesitated, then put it on speaker. Maya, Alex's voice slurred through the phone. Why aren't you responding? I can't do this anymore, she said, voice shaking. There was a pause. Then his tone changed, sharp, controlled. You think you can just walk away? He said. After everything? I know what you did, she said. To them. To me. He laughed softly. Careful. You start talking, you won't like what comes out about you. I leaned forward. Try her, I said quietly. Maya looked at me, terrified, but then something hardened in her expression. I'm done covering for you, she said. Don't call me again. She hung up and burst into tears. 2 hours later, my lawyer called. Alex retained counsel, she said. He's claiming defamation and threatening counteraction. I exhaled slowly. Of course he is. There's more, thus she added. The gym suspended him effective immediately. A small victory. But I knew better than to celebrate. Men like Alex don't go quietly. And sure enough, just before midnight, I received a message from an unknown number. A photo. Me. Sitting across from Rachel at the cafe earlier that day, followed by single line of text. You're playing a dangerous game. I stared at the screen, realizing with icy clarity that this had crossed into something else entirely. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about control, about exposure, about how far someone would go when their carefully built world started to collapse. And the next move, whether mine, Maya's, or Alex's, would decide who walked away intact and who didn't. The photo sat on my phone like a threat that breathed. I didn't respond. That was the first thing my lawyer had drilled into me. Silence is power. But silence doesn't stop your mind from racing. It doesn't stop you from checking the locks twice, from replaying footsteps outside the house, from wondering how long someone had been watching you before you noticed. Alex knew where I was, and suddenly, that made everything different. The next morning, Maya called me before sunrise. "He came to my apartment last night," she said, voice shaking. My stomach dropped. "Did you open the door?" "No," she whispered, "but he waited outside for almost an hour." "Did he say anything?" "He just stood there," she said, smiling. That image chilled me more than any angry outburst ever could. I told her to call the police. She refused. "I can't," she said quickly. "If this turns into a report, everything comes out." "Everything already is coming out," I snapped. Then I softened my voice. "Maya, this isn't about reputation anymore. This is about safety." She didn't answer. By noon, things escalated. Rachel texted me. He emailed my husband. My heart sank. Alex hadn't threatened anymore. He'd acted. Rachel called me minutes later, sobbing. "He sent screenshots," she said. "Out of context. Made it look like I chased him. My husband doesn't know what to believe." That was Alex's real weapon, not charm, not sex. Plausible deniability. He didn't destroy people directly. He let doubt do the work. By mid-afternoon, 2 more women reported the same thing. Emails, anonymous messages, carefully edited truths designed to cause maximum damage with minimum exposure. And then it was my turn. Maya stormed into the house without knocking. "What did you do?" she screamed. I held up my phone. "You tell me." She shoved her phone in my face. A message sent to her parents from an anonymous account. Photos of her and Alex together. Enough to imply everything. Enough to shame her. Her mother had replied with one sentence, "Is this why your marriage ended?" Maya collapsed onto the floor. "He promised he'd protect me," she sobbed. "He promised." I felt something inside me harden. "He's panicking," I said. "This is what panic looks like." "You started this," she shouted suddenly, looking up at me with wild eyes. "If you just stayed quiet—" "No," I cut in sharply. "You started it when you lied, when you gaslit me, when you chose him and then expected me to bleed quietly." She stared at me, breathing hard. For the first time, she didn't argue. That evening, my lawyer called with urgency in her voice. "He's escalating," she said. "We need to move faster." "Faster how?" "We file for a protective order," she replied, "and we bring everything forward at once." "All of it?" "All of it," she confirmed. "Affairs, patterns, witnesses, the video." I hesitated. "That'll burn everything down." "Yes," she said calmly, "but it'll also end his leverage." That night, Maya sat across from me at the kitchen table. No anger, no sarcasm, just exhaustion. "I'll testify," she said quietly. I looked at her, surprised. "I won't lie for him anymore," she continued, "even if it destroys me." "You know this changes the divorce," I said. She nodded. "I know." The next day we filed, and within hours Alex responded. Not through lawyers, through intimidation. A black SUV parked across the street from my house that evening. Engine running, lights off, it didn't move. I called the police. By the time they arrived, the SUV was gone, but the message was clear. That night, I barely slept. At 3:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. A voice message, Alex. His voice was calm, too calm. "You think you're winning," he said softly. "You have no idea what losing looks like yet." Then the line went dead. I sat there in the dark, phone pressed to my ear, finally understanding something that made my blood run cold. Alex wasn't trying to escape anymore. He was trying to punish. And the next step he took wouldn't be subtle, because when someone like him realizes control is slipping, they don't retreat. They strike. Just when I thought the truth was finally out, everything took a darker turn. Threats became real, fear replaced doubt, and the person we were exposing decided to strike back. From this point on, nothing felt safe. Not my home, not the involved, not even silence. The next chapter shows what happened after the intimidation began. And that's where the line was truly crossed. Watch part 2 in the next video. If you want to follow this story all the way to the end, subscribe to the channel, hit like to support it, and stay tuned because what happens next changes everything.